Using the new technology in artificial intelligence. In our universities, we all have taken different ways and paths dealing with this problem. Of course, we were all capable of reaching some sort of success in different levels and ways. I consider our meeting today a good chance to hear from each other the lessons learned, to gain new experience of what was happened and discuss our plans for the future. I don't want to talk too long since I will be presenting our experience in the Egyptian Chinese University, ECU, in the first lecture, in the first scientific session in half an hour time. So I would like to express my pleasure to be here with you today in this inauguration, and wish you all our dear, respectable countries and universities all the success. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Excellency Professor Ahmed, for this important words, and we are looking forward to know more about the Chinese experience in higher education, which is one of the newly born, but it's born giant one. Universities. We are looking for knowing more during the main session. And now I would like if the team share the card of the second speaker today, Professor Hisham Abdesalam. Professor Hisham Abdesalam is the president of Egyptian e-learning university, and now it's one of the very important university during the COVID-19 pandemic and the confirmation of the must need of online learning. Professor Hisham Abdesalam is a professor of operations, research, and artificial intelligence, Cairo University, Egypt, and he acts as director of the Decision Support and Future Studies Center in Cairo University, the director of research and development in National Management Institute, and the manager of the Future Studies Center in Information and Decision Support Center, Egyptian cabinet. Wow, a lot of experiences. We are so lucky to have you today with us. And also Professor Hisham Abdessalem is the alternate governing board member in Association of African Universities Governing Board, and he is a member of the steering board of North Africa Regional Office. Welcome, Professor Abdessalem, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Amany. Professor Mohamed Mahrasawi, President of Al-Azhar University and Vice President of the AAU, Professor Mahmoud Miteni, President of Ain Shams University and a member of the Board of Directors of the AAU, Professor Ashraf al-Sheikhi, former Egyptian Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research and the President of the Egyptian Chinese University. Ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues from African universities, good afternoon. Our celebration of the African Universities Days this year comes as we approach almost 2 years since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic has represented a challenge to humanity, which had led to deal with the economic, societal, physical, and emotional hardships imposed by the new circumstances. As the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, estimated that more than 1.5 billion students around the world were forced to disconnect from their schools and the universities, academic institutions around the world were forced to discover on their own new patterns of teaching and learning, including e-learning and distance education. Despite the complexity of the new teaching and learning arrangement, we were surprised by the amount of success in the application, which exceeded our expectations, considering the lack of readiness to deal with such circumstances. In my opinion, there is no doubt that the lessons learned from this experience will have a lasting impact on our educational institutions and will help to strengthen the educational system. The opportunity now exists for the African universities to reformulate and reconsider a new education and higher education systems, which requires investment in digital literacy and infrastructure, and the use of modern digital technologies to provide educational services and the modern curricula in a flexible way that suit different societal conditions. In this context, we are honored today to have several digital formation experiences in African universities to discuss and exchange our visions and ideas. Finally, I would like to extend my thanks and appreciation to colleagues in the North Africa Regional Office at Al-Azhar University, Professor Amany El-Sharif and Dr. Mohamed for their continuous effort that the office makes to serve the objectives of the AAU and for the excellent work they did in preparing for the day-to-day. With sincere wishes for a fruitful and effective day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Hisham Abdessalem, President of e-Learning Egypt or Egyptian e-Learning University. Thank you very much. And now, dear mind leaders, I'd like, and it's my honor to introduce one of the pillars of mind making and mind leader institution in Egypt. I'm talking about Ain Shams University, and now we are happy and we have the honor to introduce as the president of Ain Shams University and also the governing board member of AAU, Professor El-Miteni. Professor El-Miteni, he was previously the Dean of Faculty of Medicine at Ain Shams University and a member in numerous national and international professional organizations. Of course, Professor Miteni, just Google the name and you can find pages, not only the short paragraph we have now. Professor El-Miteni was the head of the Scientific Committee of Egypt Society of Liver Cancer and the founder member and the current Secretary General of the Pan-Arab Liver Transplant Society. Also, he is active member of the International Liver Transplant Society and I'm sorry, Professor Miteni, just start to read it now. Please, all of you, excuse me. And also he is As we see, he's a member in different committee and active member actually, and also Professor Metini is a member on the governing board of the North Africa Regional Office, the steering committee of North Africa Regional Office. We have the opportunity to have Professor Metini in the opening session as EEU governing board member with a welcome speech, and also we also was very how to say it, we are very lucky to get the chance to know more about Ain Shams University, one of the most important universities, not only in Egypt, but in Africa and Middle East, in the main session after closing the opening session. Welcome, Professor Metini, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor Amany, for the nice introduction, and I would like to thank you and the whole office, the NARO office, for all the efforts you're exerting to make the NARO office a very successful extension for the EU. And I would like to welcome all my colleagues and esteemed speakers in the same session, all of them, and of course, I would like to welcome our colleagues and friends from Africa, from all over the AAU. And it's really a pleasure for me. It's the first time for me to be with you in this very important meeting that you have been doing over the past year, the African University Day celebration for the 2021, and I'll be honored to present shortly a little bit about our experience. As we heard from the previous speakers, of course, the whole world is going through a crisis over the past nearly 2 years now, namely the COVID-19 pandemic. And all of us have got our experiences, our successes and failures, our challenges, and of course, the opportunities that each and every one of us managed to grasp amid all the challenges that we met over the past few months. Speaking about digital transformation, speak about the novel learning tools that we are all trying to use to fill the gap that happened by the 1.5 billion students that their education has been halted in a way or another. Of course, it's a big challenge. We all are claiming that we did a good job, and I, like you, believe that we did a good job for the digital transformation and going on platforms, education platforms, and so forth. But to be honest, we have to say that we have to wait a little bit for the results and the products of what we're doing now. Of course, we're aiming at the best, but I think there is a lot to do. And when I say there is a lot to do, being together in this very important association in Africa, I think we can lean on each other and we can gain from each other's experience to have the best outcome of e-learning and digital transformation that is being now the norm. We are going into a new norm. There will be what we call a new normal education style and norms. We put the very beginning of the foundation of it, but I think there is a lot to do together. And it's through meeting like this and through brainstorming like the one we are in today that we can manage to get the best outcome and the best solutions for all our problems and challenges. I'll stop here and thank you all again for inviting me and being a member with you. It's really I'm privileged, and Ain Shams is very happy to be a member in this very important gathering of the AAU. And let me, Amany, convey to you the will of Ain Shams University to host in the very near future the Congress of the AAU, whether it be in 2022 or whenever. We will be more than delighted to host important meeting, and we had already several partnerships with African colleagues from Somalia, from Nigeria, from several with Kenya. So we have already strong ties and want to build on it with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for these very deep messages. And of course, it's our pleasure that Ain Shams hosts one of the most important events. And shortly, I will communicate with you and all the steering board, because we have some arrangement within the beginning of 2022. Dear mind leaders, let me ask you all to invite you to see each other. So please write your name and your affiliation and your country, because I can see a lot of participation, not only from North Africa, from all over Africa. So let us see each other. And if you would like to add your contact data also as well, so feel free to do that. And now, before closing this session with the opening speech of Professor Mohammed Hussein Mahrasawi, I would like to announce that we will have a group photo and a short video about how we celebrate before COVID-19 with African Universities Week, and after COVID-19. We had two celebrations, 2019, where we have a huge activities, indoor and outdoor. We have forum, we have some context and some competitions between African students from more than 27 countries, and we have a fair for cultures and the habits of each country, with the participation of 23 countries all over Africa. I think it's nice video. It's 3 minutes video. We would like to share it with you to show how we change it from face-to-face communication to virtual communication. And I have a call from the office of Professor Mahrasawi that he is in a meeting with the Grand Imam, and we, according to our plan, we also have plan B. So let's introduce Professor Mahrasawi, a recorded video, and be ready for the group photo after that.
In the name of God, all Almighty, all compassionate. Dear guests, it is my pleasure to extend my full respect and appreciation to Professor Bakri Said, President of the Association of African Universities, and Professor Al-Shola, Secretary General of the Association of African Universities, and congratulate them on the 54th anniversary of the AAU. I extend my greetings and respect to all honorable university vice-chancellors and experts from North Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome you to the virtual webinar held by North Africa Regional Office celebrating African Universities Day 2021. African Universities Day is an important event on the AAU agenda as it commemorates the establishment of the AAU on the 12th of November 1967. African Universities Day 2021 is held under the theme Building Technology-Based Resilient Universities Now. The importance of this theme comes from the impact of corona pandemic seen on different higher education and research institutions, particularly in Africa, that drew everyone's attention on the importance of establishing strong communication infrastructure that serves higher education and research institutions and enable them to provide advanced services through high-speed wire and wireless communication networks. In discussing such issues, Let's hope to turn the pandemic into an opportunity to promote African higher education institutions, increasing their resilience against urgent crises, to adapt to the future, and to be able to survive any challenges. We are all here today to review our experiences and share the views on the evaluation of the digital transformation experience in different universities and to discuss advantages and efficacy of remote learning, besides reviewing its advantages and related challenges that faced higher education institutions during the pandemic, and to discuss possible solutions to such problems. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude my speech by extending my full gratitude and thanks for your invaluable participation and engagement, and I wish you fruitful discussions that help in the reform and development of our beloved continent of Africa. Thank you so much.
And finally, before we closing the session with the group photo, I would like to announce the apology of Professor Olusola Ole, the Secretary General of AEU, who should be with us in this session, but yesterday he had to travel to his country, Nigeria, so he send his greetings and wishes and apology for being with us today. So are we ready for the group photo, Dr. Muhammad? If
Yes,
you are ready,
Prof,
I would like to request all of you to open your camera to have the group photo. And Dr. Muhammad, lead it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Dear eminent professors and attendee for our great event today. If you allow me, please, you open your camera. And when we finish, I'll let you.
Nudumu cannot open her camera. Nudumu is the director of the IT department in headquarters of AEU. She is one of the key players in AEU, and she is one of the people behind the many achievements and leader of transformation to virtual lab. And after the group photo, if you excuse me, all of you, to ask Nudumu to give a few words, because she did a lot for being supporting for the African university during the pandemic, about 2.5 years right now. So if you give us after the photo a few words, Nudumu, I appreciate it very much.
Okay, thank you, Prof, and thank you all our attendee for the event today. The group photo now is finished, and now.
Okay. I'm sorry to ask on the spot, but if it is not available, it's okay. I understand. And Felicia is co-host, Muhammad?
Yes, but I think I'm unable to mute.
Yes, welcome, Felicia. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Amany and the team from NARO for the wonderful work that you've done. As Prof. Amany mentioned, Madame Nudumu has actually done a lot. She's the Director of ICT Communications and Knowledge Management here at the Association of African Universities, and she's been supporting all the member universities on behalf of the Secretary General and on behalf of the Secretariat in trying to ensure that African universities are really able to move through these turbulent times and were able to quickly move their lecturing and their learning activities online. So in line with this, quite a number of webinars were organized. We also leveraged on some partnerships that we have with institutions such as eLearn Africa and with other several institutions so that we could launch some platforms which the universities could make use of. I'm sure probably some of you are not aware of the AAU eLearn platform. I'm sure we can send communication following this event to all of you so that you leverage on this platform. It's actually part of the membership benefits that institutions which are members of the AAU are entitled to. So through Prof. Amany, I think we can make some of these materials and some of these learning platforms available to all universities such that we leverage on it. But just to say on behalf of Madam Nodumo, we really want to thank the North Africa Regional Office team led by Prof. Amany for all the wonderful work that you've been doing in terms of ensuring that AU members in North Africa are engaging regularly with the association and are really collaborating with each other and tapping into their membership benefits. I would like to end at this point, but just to thank all of you once again for joining.
Thank Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad and the team for organizing this wonderful event. I really appreciate your efforts. And now, Dr. Muhammad, the floor is yours to introduce the moderators of the next session. And before I leave the floor, I would like to thank President of Senghor University for their celebration with African Universities Week, and actually the Senghor University, one of the first universities to celebrate with us with the African Universities Week since we start to celebrate it in North Africa in 2019. The floor is yours, Dr. Muhammad.
Thank you, Prof, for this opportunity, and I would like to thank all our ladies and gentlemen, to University's Vice Chancellor and attendee for our event today. And now let's move for our session for the celebration with the African Universities Days. The title is Evaluation of Digital Transformation Experience in Africa Higher Education Institution. And the moderator will be our colleagues from North African Regional Office, AAU. I would like to introduce Mrs. Asma Shaban and Mr. Mahmoud Salim. Our colleagues, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Professor Amany. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad. In September 2015, at the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit, member states formally adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in New York. The agenda contains 17 goals, including a new global education goal, SDG 4. SDG 4 is ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. The theme of the 2021 Africa Universities Day is Building Technology-Based Resilient Universities Now. This theme is inspired by the fact that 19 months after the COVID-19 was declared a public pandemic, most African universities seem to still be in trouble about how to move towards a sustainable and comprehensive process of technology-supported teaching, learning, research, collaboration, and administrative operations. In 2019, NARO celebrated the African Universities Week with various activities which sent a message of coexistence and peace. In 2020, despite COVID-19, we asserted in celebrating this year virtually. Today, we come together to celebrate our success in continuing our journey in developing higher education, despite the obstacles we have faced, and to think together to keep higher education a powerful tool for a better, healthier, improving, and comprehensive world. And now, let's welcome our honorable speaker, Prof. Mahmoud El-Mitani, the president of Ain Shams University, member of AAU Governing Board, and member of AAU NARO Steering Board, who will talk about Ain Shams University strategies for digital transformation and disability students' services. Welcome, Professor El-Mitani.
Thank you very much, Asma, for the introduction. Can you see my slides?
Yes, Professor. Yes, it's clear.
I've been asked, first of all, thank you very much. I would like to re-thank you, the NARO office, and by Professor Mahrasawi and his team and Amany. And of course, my thanks are due also to the president of the AU, Dr. Bakr, and from Khartoum, and Secretary General, and all my colleagues from Africa, from all African countries, our beloved continent. And I've been asked to speak about, to share with you today about our experience in ASU, in digital transformation in this difficult time we're facing, all of us, as well as what kind of services are we presenting for the disabled students in Ain Shams. Just, I'm going to go very rapidly over the history of Ain Shams. We believe that Ain Shams University is the oldest university on earth because it dates back to 2700 BC, where own university in the old times has been in the very same place, geographically speaking, in Eastern Cairo. So Ain Shams University now exists in the very same place that own university existed by that time. In 1950, it has started as Ibrahim Pasha University just before the Egyptian Revolution in 1952. And the name of has been changed in 1954 to Heliopolis University. And in the very same year, 1954 as well, the decision was we need to choose an Arabic name, and that was Ain Shams University. So Ain Shams University is the third founded university in Egypt after Cairo University more than 100 years ago, followed by Alexandria University in 1947, and Ain Shams in 1950 as the third, one of the oldest in the region. Where are we in terms of ranking? As you can see, lots of, at least 7 very famous ranking system in the world. In the QS for this year, for the very first time, we have been awarded 5 stars, and we are very proud of that. And we are always between 500 to 700 ranking in whatever the type of ranking is. But this tells us that ASU is among the top 2% universities in the world that's being already ranked. And we think that we are going and advancing very confidently, slowly but confidently, in different ranking systems. What are our strategies? Of course, Ain Shams University is a mega university. And by the word mega, I mean that we are having 200,000 students, as you can see. We believe that this is one of the biggest number of students in the world. It's not an advantage, it's rather a challenge, but this is our status nowadays. We're having 14,000 faculties, and we're presenting more than 900 programs. And we're doing this job in being encompassed by these 6 strategies and presenting an innovative education and ongoing innovation in learning strategies and tools, and producing the best scientific research that we can do. And we're always advancing in this because this is the mainstay of any ranking system. And I think we're advancing in this year after year. But we are also enhancing the entrepreneurship, creativity, and social engagement, going into globalization or internationalization over the past 5 to 7 years. And we raised 2 years ago our alumni career support together with the Student Career Support Center that we are very proud of, and encompassing or embracing all these kind of strategies with the digital transformation that I'm going to speak in details shortly. Ain Shams University is situated in the Eastern Cairo with in 8 campuses, not only 1 campus, it's 8 campuses. We have 20 faculty and a single institution, 113 centers and units, 13 hospitals, one of the biggest medical facility in the region, encompassing 3,500 beds and accommodating 1.5 million patient traffic per year, around 250,000 inpatient interventions. We're having 5 museums, and we're having already 4 studios and radio stations. And this studio and radio station helped us a lot because we were a little bit ready when the COVID-19 arrived for recording of lectures and so forth. What kind of this 20 or 21 faculty and institution, they are distributed between 5 sectors, as you can see: the art and humanities, the healthcare, engineering and technology, basic sciences, and agriculture sector. Coming to internationalization, within the 900 plus programs that we have now 16 dual degrees and 5 joint degrees with every spot of the world, mainly with England, with France. So as you can see, in engineering, in computer science, in business, in law, in Alson, which is our linguistic, we're very old, we're very proud of the linguistic faculty. So, and this is on the rise. If we're speaking about today, 16 dual degrees and 5 joint degrees, we have in the pipeline at least another 12 dual degrees being signed to start within the scholar year 22-23. International students, we're having 7,000 international students. This is around 5% of our total student number, coming from 75 nationalities, giving them all the academic support and extracurricular activities and accommodation and logistics service. If we look to the distribution of the students, as you can see on the right-hand panel, within the columns, the blue part of the bar shows us that the majority of our international students are undergraduate, but we have a good number of postgraduate students as well. And as you can see, coming mainly from Africa, the green part of the bar, and Asia and Arab countries, and with a fewer numbers from Europe and North America. So again, this green part of the bar underlines the African students that we are welcoming, and we're welcoming more and more year after year. And as you can see, as time goes on, the number is increasing. Students with special needs, this is one part of the topic that I've been asked to speak about. As you can see, the pie chart on the left will tell us that around 13% of our special needs students problem, a visual problem, 14% with hearing problem, intellectual problem at 20%, and the mobility problem in 29%, and tics and others. And they are distributed on the right hand. I'm sorry, it's an Arabic, but I can tell you whether in the Faculty of Art or in Alcindor Linguistic or in the business or in the education or in the law. So this would show us the distribution of the special needs, the students with special needs on all types of humanities mainly, with a very few in scientific sectors. The services, we are presenting them all kinds of services. So we are hosting them in our dormitory, around 400 students with special needs in our Ain Shams University dormitory. All psychological counseling is available to them 24/7 by our hospitals and our psychiatrists or psychologists. We're presenting them, we are supplying them with all needed assistive tools, with wheelchairs, laptops, or orthotic devices or hearing aids. We are giving them all kinds of training, especially these days on the computer skills to acquire computers as fast as possible. And we, in terms of connectivity, we are providing them with free internet SIM cards to be able to be connected always, especially since the COVID-19 arrived in the planet. And we are providing them also with internships, whether in the banking sector or in the IT companies or the industry. And together with the Ministry of Solidarity, we raised, like other Egyptian universities, a solidarity unit jointly with ASU and the ministry that is doing every day and every week a need assessment for these students and providing them with filling the gap wherever they are in need for. Accessibility, we redesigned the whole campus to cope with all disabled students, and this costs a lot of money, but thanks to the NGOs and the civil society who are helping us a lot to redesign our campus, and we did this already. Now, coming to the important, another part of the topic, which is the digital transformation at ASU. We just heard from the introduction of the UN Sustainable Development Goals that have been declared in September 2015 with 17 goals. The fourth is concerned with the quality of education for everyone, with equitable kind of education for everyone. But we are concerned not only with the fourth. In Ain Shams, we are concerned with the 17th, with the good health, with convoys to manage the issue of poverty in the country and in the remote areas, with the gender equality, with the water resources and the renewable energy. Actually, as you will see shortly, and in our redesigning our undergraduate curriculums and the postgraduate research outcome, and the entrepreneurship through our innovation hub, we're trying to tackle the whole 17 goals. And just a few months after, in February 2016, Egypt declared its Sustainable Development Goals and the Egypt Vision for 2030 for transforming Egypt by 2030 into a creative, innovative society, a real producer of science and technology. And of course, as you have heard in the Nature publication 2018, the scientific output from Egypt and Pakistan topped the world in 2018-2019. What were the drivers for change in this digital transformation? We always speak about the COVID-19, but I beg to differ here and go a little bit step backward. We, as one of the important public universities, are aiming to go, and we went really into the fourth generation university rather than the third generation. And by the fourth generation, it means entrepreneurship, creativity, innovation. And this could never be done without real digital transformation. We are, as you now, in the tackling and really with concern with the generation Z, that is 2000 and plus, that had been born with different context, behavior, and consumption than if you compare them with the previous generation. And this generation needs a sort of digital transformation to be able to innovate and create as needed. And the last driver was by the COVID-19 that hit the whole world in the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, with mass closure of face-to-face activities of education institutions in nearly 200 countries, affecting nearly 1.6 billion learners, as we mentioned before. So I would say, and as you would agree with me, that the COVID-19 pandemic has changed education forever. And there will be, and there is now, as we speak, a new norms for education. So what are the benefits of digital transformation? Actually, the data. The benefit is always transparency. Digital transformation equates transparency, accuracy, innovation, data recording and management in a better way, better institution decision-making, and better education in terms of quality of education, quality of communication, whether it's student to student, faculty to faculty, or student to faculty, developing cloud-oriented platforms, quicker access to the market for education, new education and scientific products, developing information and communication competencies. And we believe it will help us also to present and in the output of the better scientific research in terms of better research services, higher efficiency, upgrading and developing educational process, creativity, and so forth. So the steps we took in NSHAMS was actually everything across the board, as you can see. We have now a state-of-the-art data center that cost us 150 million Egyptian pounds, and we just opened it this year for the very first time, encompassing and serving the whole 8 campuses of NSHAMS University. We applied since last year a total UMS for the very first time, total university management system, whether it's online payment, academic affairs, human resources, all kinds of logistics, quality control. And of course, we had already before the COVID, as I told you, an LMS, especially the Moodle platform, that we made it a custom made for NSHAMS University in-house, and we always working on it to modernize it. Of course, we're using other platforms in parallel now, but it's mainly our NSHAMS custom-made LMS for smart education and smart assessment. I'll show you in a minute. And we went into our hospital into a total hospital management information system for our medical system and the back office in terms of financial and administrative system. And I would say proudly that our competent digital transformation enabled NSHAMS University to win this year, and we celebrated this last Saturday with the UNESCO Confucius Prize for 2021. We're very concerned about illiteracy and combating illiteracy. But it was not about illiteracy alone. It was about using digital platforms to fight illiteracy in rural, remote areas during the COVID-19. We didn't close and we didn't stop our fighting illiteracy when the COVID-19 arrived and everything was halted and stopped. But we used our digital platform for the outreach of our people in the rural areas. This is our NSHAMS University e-learning portal, the ASU to Learn. I think it's second to none in terms of efficiency as a platform for learning students, whether it is for recorded live lessons, interactive activities, forum and discussion groups, virtual labs. We started this virtual lab and virtual microscope since 2015 when I was the dean of the Faculty of Medicine, and we extended this to other faculties like the science and the pharmacy and the dentistry. So we were ready when the COVID-19 arrived by a complete virtual microscope for all specialties, medical in the healthcare sector and science sector as well. We have e-portfolio for each and every student and an advanced reporting system and dashboards with the professional technical support and system. When it comes to e-assessment, it's a challenging issue. I cannot say anything else about it, but again, we tried to go into this important issue of total electronic assessment by raising our standardized item bank based on a program ILOs to develop a balanced exam, delivering it to the examinees through multiple platforms, whether it is PC, smartphones, or whatever, with an advanced software and electronic exams. An e-portfolio, as I told you, for each and every student, collecting all the work of the student, whether it's educational, competency framework. And at the end of each exam, we have a meaningful psychometric exam analysis for feedback and to see what were the troubles and to correct ourselves as we go. Just as two examples of a continuous professional development program, and it underlines the internationalization and the international partnership with different institutions in the world. On the left-hand side, this is the Foundation for Advancement of Medical Education and Research based in Philadelphia in the USA. And we are proud that Ain Shams have been announced since 2017 as the MENA famous regional institute in Ain Shams. And we already graduated 4 batches with 160 participants, experts in medical education, which is ever changing, very fastly changing as time goes on, from 12 countries. And on the right side, we started this IO, the International Institute of Online Education, with our friends in China in November 2019, as you can see, before the COVID-19. And thank God this helped us a lot, because maybe by luck we started this, but we were ready. It made us ready for all the changes appeared that we needed to do when the COVID-19 arrived. I think this is my last slide, but one of the most important I'm very proud of. This is the Ain Shams Virtual Hospital, the only accredited from Iraq and USA virtual hospital in the region. And we started this again before COVID-19, but we accelerated the steps after the COVID-19 arrived. We started this under the slogan of treat and teach, as you can see, for an outreach for remote rural areas in Egypt, in Somalia, in Eritrea. We already started this in 2017, 2018, but the steps have been very rapid since the COVID-19 arrived, and it helped us to manage COVID-19 patients remotely by telemedicine as a free service, managed more than 20,000 students. So as you can see, we have the whole flavor, the whole spectrum of the digital transformation, whether it's undergraduate education, postgraduate education, research, healthcare, providing healthcare services, whether to COVID or to other specialties, more than 16 specialties. And I think we had a good experience, but we need to share this experience with you, our colleagues in Africa, to add if you need something from us and to learn from your experience, because I'm sure there is a lot to share together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Matini. Thank you really for your inspiring speech. For to follow all your activities and follow us, join the links of NARO social platforms on chat box. And now let's welcome our honorable speaker, His Highness Prof. Ashraf El-Sheikhi, the President of Egyptian Chinese University in Egypt, and the former Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research in Egypt. Welcome, Professor. Welcome, Professor El-Sheikhi.
Thank you. My talk today is going to be entitled E-Learning Systems at the Egyptian Chinese University (ECU) during COVID-19 pandemic, opportunities and challenges. The coronavirus pandemic has made innumerable changes in our society, and education is no exception, being one of the sectors hugely impacted by the pandemic. Due to highly transmissible coronavirus, the World Health Organization, WHO, strongly advised people to avoid crowded places and close contact settings and confined and closed spaces. Considering the classroom setting with the students and the instructors in close contact and being in a confined space, universities were unsafe for everyone. With the high rate of infected people in Egypt, the government temporarily closed educational institutions in an attempt to contain the spread of the virus and reduce infections. In Egypt, the move to online teaching and learning methods accelerated as a consequence of the physical closure of universities and university colleges on March 2020. We had no choice but to shift to online education, regardless how ready our universities were. After ECU decided to move to the digital transformation approach in the age of COVID-19 by providing lectures and classrooms and the classes online amid the virus fears, therefore instructors had to change traditional teaching methods and adjust to new online teaching platforms to maintain the delivery of significant learning experience. At the time of COVID-19 outbreak, ECU top management decision was to use of active student-centered learning methods and this digitalization process had already been made early at ECU due to the right and early forecast of the problem that was in mid-January and 6 weeks before the university's closure. So we started getting ourselves ready before the closure of the universities through preparation and getting ready for enhancing our infrastructure. Due to COVID-19 led lockdown, most educators at ECU had to change their approaches of their work, teaching, assessment, supervision, research service, and engagement. During COVID pandemic and the procedure that ECU has adopted, like increasing the ICT infrastructure from hardware, software, learning management systems, electronic courses, virtual labs, and staff, and the students' orientation sessions, the students and the staff members were satisfied with the teaching online methods and reported that the lecturers were effective in arranging online teaching. The lecturers were also good at adopting the students' wishes regarding teaching. Lectures that were streamed live were preferred over recordings. ECU students think that it was a privilege to still be able to study even though the university campus was closed due to Corona and all in a time online students have been delivered in the Chinese universities. Also, the training of the language has been delivered online to EU students via platforms and applications. In all practical and clinical faculties, medical faculties, the university ECU was keen to keep the experimental medical and clinical lessons physically in the university as much as we could. So we postponed them till it was to receive students in the university campus, and the use of virtual labs and video conference was of a great importance and benefit. I'll talk now about the challenges that we faced. I'll start with the challenges in online teaching during COVID-19 pandemic. The online teaching at ECU was beginning with some fail out after over time. Some students experienced poor bandwidth, which led to them not being able to turn on their cameras and reduced the sound quality. In addition, the students were unsure how to contact their teachers in the first weeks after lockdown due to the use of several platforms. Even with a single contact channel, LMS, the students found that the threshold barrier for sending questions to the teachers through email was high. But with the technical solutions and infrastructure and LMS, the ACU has performed it. We noticed an increased attendance rate among their peers in the online lectures, which they perceived as positive. The reason for the increased attendance they believed was that many students had to make a long trip to attend the class, and the threshold for participating had become lower now that all teaching was online. ECU students expressed that they mainly collaborated well in digital groups. The communication usually worked well with both the teacher and peers in these digital groups. Challenges with managing or conducting online classes. Instructors struggled to run online classes smoothly without disruption. Due to the insufficient network conditions, the instructors feel challenged to manage their classes online since students and instructors are not in the same place. Instructors encounter external distraction, such as noise created by neighbors, pets, vehicles, visitors, and family members in their homes. Challenges with using online learning platforms or software. Instructors had to become familiar with online education platforms quickly in response to the pandemic. Therefore, instructors struggled with adapting to their chosen education platforms and softwares. The rapid transition of online teaching in response to COVID-19 had made instructors feel it more difficult to adapt at Zoom. A video conferencing software often used in online teaching, especially those having no prior experience with it. Challenges with teaching online classes effectively. Instructors had to conduct online teaching with a lack of digital literacy due to a short training period. This meant that instructors quickly faced difficulty teaching their classes online as they felt uncertain about using platforms, channels, and other specific skills needed for online teaching. Also, the lack of digital literacy made it difficult for instructors to teach online effectively since they were not ready to use various online applications, learning management systems, or web applications for their classes. Challenges with interacting with the students. The next set of challenges involves with interacting with the students during online classes. They use online platforms such as Moodle or Microsoft Teams allow students to upload their course materials only. Thus, instructors feel it difficult to have live discussions with their students online as certain platforms do not support real-time interactions between instructors and the students. Challenges with making the students participate and learn in online classes. The fifth challenge category is getting students to participate and learn in online classes. Students' lack of internet connections and technological tools at their homes prevented some students from participating and learning in online classes. Challenges with online course preparation. Digital literacy becomes a barrier once again for instructors who need to prepare virtual lessons using different technologies. In addition, online education requires instructors to adjust their previous teaching methods to fit in an online setting. Of course, another challenge was assessment. Instructors had to develop and enhance the way they used to hold the exam and the assessment of students. Finally, let me wrap up my talk. Generally, the sudden shift of digital teaching was challenging for students at ECU, but it appears that they adapted quickly to the new situation. However, ECU students reported that the use of different components of online education, such as online exams, based on artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, would improve the learning outcomes in future online courses. In my talk, I also identified the challenges that the university instructors and the students faced in online teaching during COVID-19, understanding what caused the challenges we identified and propose design opportunities that may help to address those challenges based in our experience at ECU. As a final conclusion, we can say that the early expectation and move of ECU was of a great benefit and helped to face the COVID-19 challenges successfully. Also, despite the difficulties that we had to face to shift suddenly to online education, we believe that we gained new experience that we will keep after COVID-19. The pandemic inspired, or let me say, forced us to change and develop, and it also minimized the resistance of students and staff members to change. Using blended education systems will continue as it proves to be successful and a good practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor El-Sharif. Thank you for sharing these impressive activities with all African colleagues here. What a huge effort in short time. It's really inspiring all of us. Professor, it's impressive how Chinese university handle different challenges smartly. Thanks for sharing your unique experience with us. I think Dr. Amany wanted to make a comment. Mike, with you, Professor.
Yes, please. First, I would like to thank His Excellency Professor Amany El-Sharif for the great effort in very short time. Actually, this is a role model how to success in spite of all the challenges, and also how they treat the challenges softly and with very smart and applicable solutions. And we would like if we can share a document or any material to share it for our colleagues in Africa, because these success stories and lessons is important to share. Second, I'd like to ask Dr. Mitini, we have a comment for him that people would like from Nigeria, our colleague from Nigeria would like to contact with him regarding the virtual hospital. So Prof. Mitini, if there is a coordinator, we can share the contact data of the coordinator here on the chat box, it would be great. Also, if you allow me, Asma, if anyone would like to ask Professor Ahmed El-Sharif, Chinese University President, or Professor Mitini, Shams University President, any questions, I'm afraid that their time may be not, they don't have enough time to be with us. So I hope they will be with us till the end. But if
jump in here, Amany.
Yes.
Jump in for a second. Thank you very much. And
yes, please. Yes.
I read the comment of my friend from Nigeria, and
yes.
Of course, my email is available for everybody. I think it's on the link with you in our official email. If you can share it with everybody, I'll be more than happy to answer any question. And the presentation, I think, has been recorded. And again, looking forward to host you all in Ain Shams soon, inshallah, in a meeting. We'll discuss with you and the office later this. Thank you.
If anyone would like to know more about the virtual hospital, is there a coordinator they can contact?
Sure. Dr. Tamer Amara, who is very aware of the AAU. He's a professor of neurology and he's the director of virtual hospital. But anyone will send me on my mail all the question, and I will send them the contact of him.
Forward.
And already the virtual hospital have got its outreach in several countries in Africa. So the job is already done, and we can extend it to whatever country will ask for this service.
Okay. So all data related for virtual hospital will be published on all our different media, on the formal website and on our social platforms as well. Thank you, Professor. If any questions, you are welcome to add it on the chat box, and the floor is yours, Asma.
Okay, thank you, Professor Amany. Thank you, Professor Mtini. Thank you, Professor Shihi. Before we move to the next speaker, if anyone would like to ask, please drop your question in the chat box. Okay, thank you. Let's move to my colleague, Mr. Mahmoud, who will introduce the next, our honorable speaker. Mike with you, Mr. Mahmoud.
Thank you, my dear colleague Asma. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all once again in NARO's forum held within the 2021 African Universities Day celebration. It's our pleasure to be the moderator of the session. It's our pleasure today also to have a presentation from His Excellency Professor Thierry Verdel, rector of Senghor University in Alexandria. He is a professor at the École des Mines de Nancy, School of Mines of Nancy. He also a civil and mining engineer and researcher. His scientific expertise concerns natural and industrial risks management, crisis management, as well as statistical engineering. He has also worked on the vulnerability of historical monuments to natural hazards through numerical modeling methods with several applications in Egypt, Syria, and Greek. Cher prof Verdel, vous pouvez maintenant activer votre micro et partager votre écran, s'il vous plaît.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, Prof. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you everybody for welcoming me to this talk. I will speak about the digital transformation at Senghor University, not from the educational point of view, but from the administrative point of view. Let me say a few words first about Senghor University. Senghor University was born in 1990. It is named after the name of Léopold Sédar Senghor, who was the first president of Senegal. And as Léopold Senghor was one of the fathers of what we call today Francophonia, or French-speaking countries organization. So it has been created by the will of French-speaking countries with a mission to contribute to the African development. It is hosted in Alexandria in Egypt. It is now what we call a direct operator of Francophonia organization. Here in Egypt, we have around 200 students, only in a master degree, coming from 25 different countries, but we also have 12 campuses in Africa and one in Europe. So we are not a university as a classical university, we are more close to a business school, we could say. I will first introduce why we have made a digital transformation at the university. So I will talk about the observation I made when I became the rector of this university, observation and expectations. Then I will show you the technical choice we have selected, and I will tell you the starting point to this digital transformation, and then how it has been extended. And finally, I will conclude with the gains for the institution and, of course, also the limits. So let us start first with the observations I have made when I came here, and I was also working in this university 15 years ago. So when I came back in 1997, I observed first some strengths and some weaknesses for the university. Strengths is a small team, which is very engaged and very professional. A university which is using also quality insurance procedures and with people having a long experience of working here. Weaknesses, mainly the organization itself. It was very pyramidal, with no internal communication, no versatility of the people, having a routine work. Of course, we are a small university, so we have a limited budget, and there was no IT team. So how to change the university in this context? Regarding the expectation, because we wanted to change the pyramidal organization, we wanted people to work together. So we started with the will to write documents and to work together in a collaborative way. So one of the will was to be able to use collaborative document writings like tables, documents, and presentation created together at the same time. The expectation was also to use a familiar environment, not to change the system, the IT system with something very different to what they were used to use, the people were used to do. Another will was to remove the need for attaching document in mails, because as you know, we receive many hundred mails every day with many attached documents, and these make the mailbox very heavy. And we also wanted to work outside of the local network, especially when we are traveling to missions, because we are working all over Africa, so we are often on traveling. And also for external people, for partners, because we have many partners in Africa, to be connected with us outside our domain, computer domain, I mean. Of course, all this collaborative way of working should be carefully managed so that you can control the access to all the documents we share with people. So with the capacity just to edit or to comment or just to read. And of course, we should be able to provide professional documents editing using a low bandwidth, because the internet here and in Africa is not very powerful yet. And of course, we should be able also to create an intranet with the same tool or the same environment. So what was the choice for us? We could say that there were two or three choices. Using I highly developed systems for collaborative writing or collaborative working. You have Microsoft Office 365, you have Google Workspace, and you have the Apple solution, which is called iCloud, but this one is a little bit heavy in bandwidth. So between the two others, Office and Google, we selected the Google's Workspace options. Why? First, because it's free. It's free for all the users of the domain, up with the capacity to collect more than 25 gigabytes of data. Second, all the documents you create in this space are not counted or are not charged on the quota. So you can have an unlimited number of documents for free, we could say. Then it's compatible with the Microsoft solution. All the documents you're working with, you can convert them to Microsoft documents so that you can also share these documents with people which are not connected or not using these solutions. You can export directly to PDF format. You can interconnect the file together. For instance, you can put a table in a document, and when you update the table, the document is updated automatically. You have some exclusive functions using, for example, exchange rate capacity, daily exchange rate capacity automatically. You have also the capacity to collect photographs for an unlimited number. Of course, you have the mail, you have the Digenta, you have the Google Meet solution for video conferencing, and you can create an unlimited number of accounts for students. And the students are, most of the time, they are already used to Gmail, so it's very familiar for them to move to an email, institutional email. So what was the starting point to start this? So we selected the solution. What was the starting point to engage the people working with this environment? It was the board meetings. We started to meet every week, starting in January 1917, when I came here and I took my place here. And we started with a report of the meeting. So when I'm sorry, it's in French, because as you know, we are a French-speaking university. So the first meeting we made with the board of directors, I prepared the report in a Google document, and I asked all the directors to put in the report, to make the report of this meeting before the meeting. So every director should feel is part of this report. And during the meeting, we were connected to the document, sharing on the screen, and we discussed about 2 or 3 points for the coming week, and we directly fill the meeting report. So here you see the beginning of the document. There is a date. You see it was the 10th of January 1997. We discussed some points, but at the end of the document, at the back of the document, each department should have reported its activities of the past week on the document before we come to the meeting. So there is no need to discuss again of what was happening last week. Maybe I can ask a question about one point or another, but there was no need to discuss this. So, and the report is made before we start, or partly before we start the meeting. So how this process was extended? So we extended in a different way. First, we review all the repetitive procedures using paper documents. We made a review of all of this and transformed some of them in collaborative documents. We also identified some indicators we need for our reporting process. For example, the gender of students, gender of professor, the number of hours, number of credit, the plane tickets, because all our professors are coming from outside, so we order many plane tickets. All of this needs to be counted for the activity reported. And as I told you, we have many campuses outside, so we should be able also to share some documents with them, budget documents, student files documents, things like that. So we started to put this document online and share them with our partners. And then the report to the Board of Trustees, statistics, pools, all of these tools, all of these needs were covered by collaborative documents. So I'll show you some and other forms for mission orders, payroll, grade books, mission reports. All of these documents could be transformed into collaborative documents. I will give you some examples very quickly. Here, for example, you have the table of the courses. Every week there is a course. You have four, at the bottom of the document, you see 4 sheets for each of the 4 departments we have, and every director filled this form. This week we had this professor, and from this document, the people responsible for making the reservation for the plane ticket use this form to prepare the reservation for the ticket, to prepare the contract with the student, the professors, etc., etc. All of this is centralized and shared with different people here. And from this file, you can automatically build, for example, the program. You can extract the program automatically with the number of hours, which semesters, etc., etc. You can have statistics, all of this is automatic, statistics for the number of professors, female and male in each semesters. So you can create these statistics for their activity report to the Board of Trustees. Here, another table for the plane tickets. So each line is a plane ticket that we order. And from this table, you can get statistics also, statistics with which company you have been using, how many tickets you bought with them, what was the price, what is the median price to go from a place to another. And from that, you can make prediction. For example, here you have the average price for a ticket between different countries to other countries. These are the countries where we are working. So you can prepare the budget of the next year on this base. And all of this is automatically built from the main table. For the bookmark, for instance, here you see the bookmark of one department. So each line is a student with a course and a mark. And from this big file containing all the students, all the marks in all the courses, automatically you get this bookmark, which is very pretty presented, and you can send it by email automatically to the student, for instance. So this is the beginning of the bookmark, the end of the bookmark. All of this in Google Sheet documents. You can get also statistics to other activities. For example, here, continuous training seminars, we have a table for that. And from this table, we get statistics. You can get statistics from the students. We have a file for the students, so you can build this table automatically with the country they're coming from, the specialty they are, where they are registered in, etc. The missions, for example, when our directors go to missions, they have to write a report. They put it in a specific directory on Google Drive space, and these documents are shared with the other directors, and you can make comments like here. This is a report. you have other partners to make comments, ask questions, collect some data which are interesting for one and another. Also, we use these tools to follow the action plan, the annual action plan with dates, beginning date, end date, and rate of achievement, etc. Which can from this table we can get also statistics to about the level of achievement of our annual plan. We can get statistics about the number of action we have put in this plan, etc. And finally, the report to the Board of Trustees. It's a report which is written in a collaborative way. So we are different people. I put the base skeleton of this report, and all the directors put the input. And you can see on the right side that one of the directors made an input in this report, and I accepted this input. All of this online, from a smartphone, from home, from the university, in a single document. There is no Word document shared by mail with different versions. There is only one version. This version is always updated. For the budget, for instance, when I prepare the budget report to the Board of Trustees, I prepare some tables from the budget, and here, and these tables are in the document report. And as you can see on the right, there is here an update. I can click on this button, and this table will be automatically updated with the final numbers. All of this is very comfortable to work with, etc., etc. So, what are the gains for the structure? What were the gains for the structure? First, a quick enrollment, because if you use Google Doc document, Google Sheet document, Google Slide document, they are very, very similar to Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, or Microsoft PowerPoint. So it's very easy for the people who are used to Microsoft tools to switch to Google tools. Second advantage, it's the information is widely shared between the people here working in the university. Before that, there was no information between each other, transferring between each other. So now everything is shared. The mailboxes are much lighter now than they were before, not full of Google or Microsoft documents. The documents are standardized because we have models, everybody is using the same models, so it's more professional. And these models are updated also. And mainly maybe all the people feel involved in the development of the university because they participate to the development of the university through the writing of collaborative documents. Of course, there are some limits. First, the system is not centralized. It's a decentralized system with many files everywhere. So you need a good organization for the people to find where the information is. Some people say there are too much information shared. The contrary of before, they were asking for more information sharing. Now they are complaining with too many information planes. So sometimes you have to decide if these documents should be shared or not. Maybe it's not necessary. Of course, you need to work in this way. You need to have a permanent connection to internet. Sometimes not so easy. In Egypt, it's okay. We have a good internet network through mobile phone or through landline phones. In Africa, it's not so easy. In Black Africa, it's not so easy. And if you have to use it with a smartphone, you need a good smartphone also to be able to edit documents with this. And of course, habits take time to be changed. So sometimes I still have to remember that instead of sending me a Word document, please put this document on Google Drive, share the document with me. It will be more easy to collaborate in writing these documents. As a conclusion, I would say, first, collaborative writing means co-construction of the university, co-construction of the development of the university and a better engagement of people in the university. Second, with such tools, you have a complete traceability. You know who has written the document, what they have changed in the document, when they have changed it. You can come back to a previous version. So it's very interesting sometimes to see where was the problem, for instance, who made these mistakes or things like that. Not to punish, but to understand which mistakes has been done. The tools we're using here are very, very powerful. In Google Sheet documents, for example, you have very powerful functions like query to make some research, sophisticated research in a big table. You can have, for us, it's very important, you can have access to real-time, almost real-time exchange rates because we are dealing with different rates. There are some artificial intelligence functions helping you to make better documents. So this is very powerful. Also, the solution, especially the Google Doc solution, is not doesn't require big resources. You don't need to have a very big bandwidth. Simple connection is enough to work.
Professeur, excusez-moi, vous n'avez pas qu'une seule minute.
Yes, this is the end.
Ah, d'accord.
Therefore, when the COVID-19 came in March 2013, 2019, we were ready. Suddenly, everybody was at home. The students were at home. The professors were staying in the country. All the workers were at home, and we could continue just as we were doing before. So it was not a big disruption for us when COVID-19 came. But of course, you need a method to deploy such a system. You have the feeling of being connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So maybe you don't take enough rest of the university. And of course, the data privacy is depending not on us, because not our IT system, it's depending on Google. But we trust, until now we trust Google. That's it. I ended just at time, I guess, my presentation. Thank you for listening. I'm just waiting for any question if you have.
Merci infiniment, Monsieur le Professeur Thierry Verdal, recteur de l'Université Sambour en Alexandrie, pour cette merveilleuse présentation et cette expérience extraordinaire. Distinguished Prof. Verdal, we would like to thank you for this informative presentation and extraordinary and inspiring experience of Senghor University. Thank you once again for being with us today and for sharing this interesting experience. I'd like to notice our audience that if you have any questions for Prof. Verdal, you can drop it in the chat box. If anyone have a question, please write it in the chat box. Okay. There's no questions. Okay, I'd like now to display a video about Senghor University again. Senghor University's celebration in EUD 2021. This video will be a student sharing of their experience in during the COVID-19 disruption. Now let me display the video.
Mahmoud, if you please, when you share the video, there is an option to click on when you share the screen for the video about the video. When you display video, there is an option you click on so that the video is better displayed.
Okay, I will.
At the time you share the screen, you will see a button at the bottom of the screen, optimized for video. And then select the video.
Okay, Prof, we will do that.
Sorry.
Pour être honnête, j'ai plutôt bien vécu l'expérience d'apprentissage à distance. Étant une personne très autonome, j'ai particulièrement apprécié la gestion de mon agenda d'étudiante à ma guise. Le seul bémol venait, à mon avis, de certains enseignants qui n'avaient pas toujours l'expérience d'enseigner à distance. On pouvait clairement voir la différence entre les enseignants qui étaient habitués à l'enseignement à distance et ceux qui ne l'étaient pas. Je propose par conséquent que la formation à distance, qui possède de multiples avantages, fasse partie intégrante du système d'enseignement supérieur et que les enseignants d'université soient systématiquement formés à l'enseignement à distance.
La pandémie de la COVID-19 a impacté les États sur plusieurs domaines, notamment l'éducation et plus spécifiquement l'enseignement supérieur. Les universités ont dû mettre en place plusieurs stratégies pour assurer une continuité des activités académiques. J'ai particulièrement apprécié la réactivité de l'Université Senghor dans ce contexte. Et cette réactivité a été facilitée par l'existence en amont des outils numériques d'apprentissage. Les outils d'apprentissage mis en place par l'Université Senghor ont facilité aux étudiants le travail personnel et les interactions avec l'enseignant, et spécifiquement en termes de partage d'expériences. En mode distanciel, l'enseignement s'est beaucoup appuyé donc sur l'effort de lecture et de travail individuel de l'étudiant en amont. Nous avons donc pu, enseignants synchrones, approfondir les connaissances et vivre d'expériences partagées. Cependant, même s'il faut reconnaître qu'on avait plus de temps libre pour nous organiser et travailler en toute autonomie, il faudra désormais prendre en compte des outils qui permettent de simuler le présentiel, le contact avec les camarades et l'enseignant pour vivre en plus l'expérience. Il faudra développer également des activités d'apprentissage qui gardent ou motiver les étudiants concentrés sur l'objectif. Je vous remercie.
Lorsque les autorités ont pris les mesures de confinement et la fermeture de l'université par conséquent, suite à la pandémie de Covid-19, j'étais en second semestre de la première année en gouvernance et management public à l'Université Senghor. Le mode d'enseignement a basculé du présentiel en distanciel. Et heureusement que l'université nous avait préparés à l'apprentissage à distance dès le début de la formation. Toutefois, cela n'a pas été un exercice facile suite à l'instabilité de la connexion Internet d'une part et certains enseignants qui n'étaient pas habitués à ce mode d'enseignement d'autre part. L'appel que je lance à d'autres institutions universitaires africaines est de toujours associer aux nouvelles technologies les compétences qu'elles offrent à leurs étudiants, pas seulement dans le but d'assurer la continuité de leurs activités à distance en cas de force majeure comme celle qui nous a surpris, mais aussi et surtout pour préparer leurs étudiants à être compétitifs sur le marché d'emploi. Je me dis que les compétences qui n'incluent pas les nouvelles technologies risquent d'être stériles dans ce mode du XXIe siècle. Merci.
La mutation subite entre les cours en présentiel et ceux en ligne, particulièrement sur la plateforme Moodle, n'a pas été facile. Il ne faut pas se leurrer. Tout de suite, il fallait passer d'une interaction directe avec le professeur à une autre qui est purement virtuelle. Il m'a fallu un moment pour assimiler la structure de la plateforme, par exemple où aller trouver mon département, mes cours, comment interagir avec l'enseignant en cas de besoin, comment déposer les devoirs et passer les examens. C'est vraiment un gros travail comme tout début. Cependant, j'avoue que l'expérience fut belle. Au-delà du présentiel, j'ai fini par comprendre que le meilleur peut également sortir de cet apprentissage en ligne. Certes, il y a un problème d'accès à Internet qui se pose dans beaucoup de pays africains, mais cela n'est pas comparable à l'économie qui est dépensée pour aller suivre une formation à l'autre bout. L'apprentissage en ligne pallie désormais à cela parce qu'avec une telle mobilité, ce sont les universités qui viennent aux apprenants et non les apprenants qui partent vers les universités. Alors pour ce qui est de la plateforme Moodle, je suggère qu'il y ait un guide ou même un tutoriel pour initier les utilisateurs. Je vous remercie.
Les changements de pratique d'apprentissage et de rapport entre auditeurs durant la période de Covid-19. Dans l'ensemble, cela m'a permis de renforcer ma pratique des outils de travail collaboratif ainsi que ma capacité à travailler en autonomie et en toute responsabilité. Mais il est bien de signaler que cette expérience plutôt positive à l'Université Senghor a été possible grâce à l'existence d'infrastructures adaptées, à l'enseignement de modules comme le certificat informatique et Internet, mais surtout grâce au management agile de l'administration qui a permis de faire efficacement la transition entre le présentiel et le distanciel. Cela m'amène à inciter les étudiants à s'initier davantage aux nouvelles technologies au service de l'éducation. Quant au gouvernement, il devrait penser davantage à des mécanismes innovants de financement des universités, surtout publiques, en vue de développer et diffuser des contenus numériques, de créer des cadres de partenariat pour le partage des ressources.
Okay, thanks once again to Senghor University that participated in AUD celebrations this year by its own way, by this video. And I'd like also to say that not only Senghor University that did activities on its way to celebrate the AUD 2021, but also we have Faros University that organized a workshop based on the EUD theme, and Dr. Nurhan Al-Haridi will give a speech or the presentation about this contribution. And we have also Tanta University that held a seminar yesterday within the theme of this year's celebration. And finally, we have BUE, the British University in Egypt, that will hold tomorrow a a workshop tomorrow within the theme of this year's celebrations, the 2021 African Universities Day celebration initiatives of the Faculty of Business Administration, Economics, and Political Science at the British University in Egypt. We will share this announcement in the chat box. And now I would like to move to our next speaker. I can see Prof. Muhammad. He wants to say something, I think. Dr. Muhammad Ataya, the floor is yours.
Okay, my colleague Mahmoud, thank you. And I would like to say as a gentle reminder for those attendees who missed the group photo, it's our pleasure that we will have another one by the end of the session. Please be ready and open your cameras when we announce about that. And also please fill the questionnaire of the event. It will be on the chat box by the end of the session, and it will be working for only 24 hours as the attendance certificate will be available for those the questionnaire within the 24 hours. Thank you, my colleague Mahmoud, and thank you all for participation in this event. And the floor is yours now, Mahmoud.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad, for this reminder. Now we will move to our next honorable speaker, Professor Mohammed Miliani. Professor Mohammed Miliani is a professor of applied linguistics and education at the University of Oran, University of Wahran. His Excellency will give a speech on the digital transformation of a pandemic resilient university. Professor Miliani, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Well, the theme today for me then is about the pandemic, of course, and it's entitled Digital Transformation of a Pandemic Resilient University. Well, I'm having a problem with my my slides. Okay, so let's start first with the Algerian system. Very brief. What I wish to say is there are about 50 universities, 13 university centers, and around 40 schools, different types of schools. The pre-pandemic situation, so there are a couple of elements I wish to talk about, and maybe the first one is it's about quality assurance. Then in 2010, okay, I hope then it's going to come out. The second element then, which is of importance then to us, it's the creation of a national reference framework in 2016. And next, we went through with the university screening governance cards, and that was then in 2016. Then 2017, so the university projects, so each university had then to prepare its own project. Then we went through self-assessment, and finally, some of the universities then went through external examination. A quick word about then the university governance screening card, and now I'm talking about my own university, University of Oran, and we were then evaluated, but as you know, so as I said, so you had 5 dimensions, and you see the arrows because the self-evaluation was maybe too high at times, considering then what the screening card then said. And one of the key issues is the problem of autonomy
where my university did not then score very high. It's simply because, well, my university is public. And then you can understand why we did not then score high. But accountability and managerial orientation, we did do well. Of course, then two elements which are very important. It's the notion of pedagogical continuity and the second element is, of course, this digital transformation. Now, the digital transformation was really maybe the only way out in order then to face the problems that we had, in order then to carry on this pedagogical continuity. Right, I think we need maybe to read out well, an interesting quote by somebody who is known then in the resilience problem. Then he said, misfortune is not a destiny. One can always get through it. And I think that's exactly what any university which became resilient, and mine was really in that case. So a number of things then did take place, like try to carry on functioning, face then the disturbances, try to restore some kind of normalcy, find then the alternatives, because as we know, we were into that kind of old routinized normal. And of course, then what were the alternatives? That was then the challenge we had to face. We had, of course, the university had the new challenges, and that means facing risks, because when you face the unknown, and the unknown is systematically then equated with risk. Some faculties or departments have identified new pathways, new solutions, and of course, the bigger challenge was distance learning, when in fact, some teachers, it's teachers who were not really following the pattern, as it were, and they had even difficulties then doing this distance learning. Some even went through then some shocks, psychological shocks, which was understandable. And then, of course, we had then to use this digital transformation by adapting and adjusting then certain elements. The next phase, which I wish then to talk about, it's really the what was done locally, and you see that each time the university was trying then to develop some kind of integrated system, created then a network of possibilities, as it were, in order then to manage this newness of the situation. Improving, because we had then a learning platform, distance learning platform, and we had then to improve it. Well, a number of YouTube channels by each faculty were opened, created, Facebook pages, same thing for the university and faculties. And then, of course, we had then to create then through internet, then synchronous and asynchronous communication. And that was really important. Reorganizing then human resources what was then a big challenge then for faculties or departments. We went through jury deliberations then using internet. So face-to-face juries then were less than done. Then we had also then to study then scholarship dossiers or even rank promotion by teachers. And all that was done then online. Pedagogical registration, so students didn't have then to move. And, you know, going from maybe 100% then registering face-to-face to pedagogical registration, but using internet then is a different challenge. Training was an important element then, because not everybody was really expert then in digital kind of management. Of course, one thing which was important then to do, it's then to do something, but at a national level. So you had the local, but now I'm trying then to talk about what was done, but nationally. So generalization of distance learning as a way then to learn, in order then to reduce then the rate of face-to-face, a number of acts of governance. Of course, then the new challenge was then to train as many people as possible in ICT skills, increase internet connection. That was important because of the demand. And then, of course, then one of the main structures, the CERIST, which is a research center for scientific and technical information, had then to develop, and also then this academic research network. Now, one cannot then go far if the main partner, i.e. the ministry, does not participate. And I'm going then to quote here then a number of elements which for me are very important. His Excellency, the Minister of Higher Education, for instance, in October 2020, then really said something about developing innovation, okay, from then a database, but at local levels. He's really stated that what was done before remained insufficient. And we had, of course, then to accelerate the digital transformation of elements then for training and research. The problem then with bringing then digital transformation.
We can move to Professor Hoda until his problem is solved. Professor Hoda Mustafa, are you ready to display your presentation?
Yes, I think that's solved.
Okay, the floor is yours, Prof.
All right, I think you can now see my presentation.
Yes, we can see it. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so well, thank you very much for inviting me today to speak. I'm Hoda Mustafa, and I'm the director of the Center for Learning and Teaching. I'm a professor of practice, and I am an alumni of the Cairo University Faculty of Medicine. And I recently changed my career over the last 10 years to move into the field of education, educational development, online learning, and design thinking. But I'm here to talk about something that I think will build on what everyone has been talking about today, and hopefully something new and interesting that you'll find useful in your practice as educational leaders in higher education about resilience, digital education, and the future of the new campus experience, and how we can use our experience over the last 18 months to make some big bets in an age of uncertainty, but also an age of possibilities. So as we unite as African universities, I think we're uniquely placed to not only be part of the Middle East and the MENA region, but also to be part of Africa, and to build on the leverage of a boom in not only digital transformation, but in opportunities, not only 2030, but also Africa 2060. In the future of learning experiences for our students as they become more exposed to different ways of learning, become more aware of all the opportunities that are out there in the job market, and how they want to become more competitive. The future of learning spaces and how we can reimagine the physicality of the campus, and not only think of it as a brick and mortar physical space, but also to think of it as a hybrid blended physical and virtual space, because we now know that we have the capacity, we have the imagination, we can build the skills to leverage both spaces. And future learners, we also know that our learners are agile, our learners are resilient, our learners are curious, And we have a huge potential in our youth in Africa and in Egypt to learn in different ways, and not only within our universities, but also beyond, whether it's within the curricula we offer, but also in the learning outside the classroom. I'm lucky and privileged to be the director of our Center for Learning and Teaching at the American University in Cairo. We are the largest center for learning and teaching in the region. And we were able and we were prepared at AUC, because we have a Center for Learning and Teaching that prepared faculty, collaborated with multiple offices, whether it's digital transformation, whether it's the learning management system team, whether it is IT, to bring together faculty very quickly within a very short period of time to react to the crisis. Not all universities do have centers for learning and teaching. Ours is modeled after many US universities and European universities. We have an educational development and assessment team. We have a digital education team. We have video services. We have lecture capture. We support learning management. We train faculty. We have over 20 student work study in our program for student workers. So we have a very diverse excuse me, a very diverse set of services, and all our services are on our website. But we were able to respond luckily because we had a Center for Learning and Teaching. And I'm saying we were lucky because the university saw this since 2003 in establishing a very small center, which grew in 2011 and then grew again in 2018. Our digital education unit was established in 2018 with a vision for digital education and for online learning, but online learning was something we wanted to explore since 2011. We also prepared an open educational resource for our faculty to help them design their courses in a way that would best suit emergency remote teaching and online instruction. So this is a self-paced course. It's an open educational resource. It's available for anyone to access. It's on our website. You're free to use it and to share it with others. Excuse me just a moment. And we invite you also to provide feedback. It's basically a way for faculty to teach themselves how to design and teach online. And it's full of all the resources that you may need to react very quickly in a crisis. It was very useful for our faculty, and many other universities also shared this resource with their faculty as well. So I encourage you, if you'd like, to take a look at it. You might find it useful to add to your libraries as well. And then I'd like to move on to something that is more future looking, because I think we had some excellent presentations from multiple universities about how they reacted to COVID. So I thought I'd use my time to look into the future. And this is a very impactful report that is, I think many of you may be familiar with it, which is the yearly Horizon report from EDUCAUSE on teaching and learning. And this report, every year I read it very carefully, because it usually gives me a hint of which directions we should go in higher education and what to focus our efforts on as educators and as leaders in higher education, which ways to direct resources, which ways to direct professional development, what kinds of workshops my center should be focusing on, what kinds of programs I should be suggesting to leadership. For example, what kinds of technological trends, what kinds of environmental trends, for example, aligning with the Sustainable Development Goals, what kinds of economic changes are happening, the future of work, for example. And then what are the trends that will have impact on the future of teaching and learning that are on the horizon? And quite rightly, it's called the Horizon Report. So for 2021, and in 2020, they were different. In 2019, they were different. In 2018, they were different. And every year you check them, and some of them stay the same. So for example, blended and hybrid course models have been on the horizon for many years now, learning analytics, looking at learner data, looking at learner performance, looking at things like completion rates, looking at assessment data, looking at student feedback around how they learn on the learning management system to improve course design. Quality online learning is something that in the future students will be looking for. Good quality open educational resources is something that the African universities can hugely benefit from. This community of sharing, how together we could create all sorts of high quality open educational resources in a environment that is often scarce on access to closed resources that are often very expensive. Databases that we can't always afford to purchase for our institutions. So the more open educational resources we have, and this is a trend, it's a global trend. And of course, artificial intelligence. So the Horizon report has kind of pinned those as being, you know, as institutions, as educators, let's keep our eye on those. And then the scenarios, where is the transformation? Where are the areas in which we can grow and transform? It's also very useful to take a look at, and this is again Western centric, but I'm going to focus on hybrid learning, online learning, because digitization of a campus or a strong, solid infrastructure will enable the kinds of experiences that our students will be looking for in the future. The kinds of immersive experiences. Ain Shams University was talking about their virtual labs. We have a new immersive VR lab in our mechanical engineering department. Students will be looking for these kinds of experiences that they can take forward and learn in a different way. The technology is there, it's getting less expensive. Mobile learning and mobile enabled learning, their ability to author and produce their own content. How we can transform education using powerful technologies, hybrid classrooms, how we can create classrooms that allow for students to attend physically, but also to attend virtually. We have a series of dual delivery classrooms at AUC, which are taught in a hybrid or a high flex manner, in which some of the students are attending physically and some of the students are attending online. That allows us to react to crisis, that allows us to have some students in class, some students out of class, some students online. Our professors are trained to teach to both audiences, and many universities across the globe have used synchronous hybrid teaching as a way to react to the ongoing COVID crisis globally. Allowing or using technology to create more agency and choice, designing things like micro-credentials, that's also something that's a trend for the future. Allowing students to learn not only on campus, but to maybe take a few courses online, maybe to take a few blended learning courses, that they would take a 5-year degree in which some of their courses were online, some of their courses were blended, and some of their courses were face-to-face, so that when they graduate, they have a more expanded experience. In the United States, I think the statistic is about 30-something% of students, by the time they graduate, will have taken at least one online undergraduate course. I think we are far behind in Africa, that our students are not as exposed to online learning for the future. And then this is another very interesting infographic, also by EDUCAUSE, in how we can transform campuses around top IT issues, for those of you who are in the IT area, in redesigning higher education that we deserve. So I've highlighted just 3 broad areas in how can we look at IT in a different way, how we can create new opportunities in online learning on a residential campus, how we can evolve for example, networks on campus. I heard Ain Shams University investing a lot in their internal networks, digital skills and digital literacies for faculty and students. Equity is a big issue as well, making sure that all students have equal access to learning across the campus, regardless of gender, regardless of their learning abilities, regardless of disability. All of these things are very, very important. And then, of course, powering up the cloud and access to internet. Students should be, and again, with COVID, we realized how important that was. And a lot of universities were giving students access to internet at home, giving them internet sticks, giving them access to internet when they didn't have internet at home. And this is very important. But a campus that is connected, not only on site, but also students that are connected at home is vital. And finally, I want to move away from technology in the last 3 or 4 minutes I have, is to also think about engagement for real life experience for this new campus. So we talked about resilience and digital education, but I want you to also think about our new campuses. So we've been through COVID, we've had emergency remote teaching, but now we have a situation where we could have both. We could have this space where it's not a new normal, but maybe a parallel normal, maybe an adjacent normal, maybe a lateral normal, whatever we want to call it, but it will have the benefits, the advantages, the pros to take the best of both worlds. And when we look at the World Economic Forum top 10 skills and compare 2015 to 2020, a lot of the top skills that employers are looking for, things like complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, coordinating with others, people management. Not all these things are taught best in an online learning environment, or they're very difficult to enable. I'm not saying they cannot be, but you need both. So students who are learning online can develop these skills, of course, in online learning, but they also need other things as well. So things like problem-based learning, the pedagogy behind how you design your curricula, relating problems, using real life problems in our curricula, connecting what we teach to the real world. Coming from a medical background, my whole educational career was the real world. And that's why the examples from Ain Shams were so relevant, because they're authentic. They're real world challenges. They're designed for problem-based learning. They're problem-based, they're team-based. They result in a cycle of learning that leads to some kind of resolution of a real world problem. And this is what, when we talk to our students, this is what they want, because they know it mirrors real life. They know they can get the theory on the internet, but they can't get the real world experience, and they can't learn how to deal with these complex challenges except through an experience that they get at university where they do these kinds of things. Problem-based learning is very powerful. I know that their Suez Canal University uses problem-based learning extensively at their medical school. We use problem-based learning in our STEM courses and our engineering courses. And we're also introducing design thinking at AUC. Challenge-based learning and challenge-based innovation, we're introducing design thinking, and partnering with industry, where we can bring a team, bring an industry partner, and start to partner with real challenges that are outside the university, bring them in, have the students solve them, and create this resilient new age campus that has students who learn on a campus that is connected, and also have exposure to learning in different ways online, whether it's a blended or online course in an augmented residential campus. And then also learn with new age pedagogies that allow them to mirror real world experiences and prepare them for the jobs of the future. Thank you very much. And I think I'm on time, and I have time for some questions if anyone has any for me.
Thank you, Professor. It's impressive how AUC handle different challenges smartly. Thanks for sharing your unique and inspiring experience with us. If anyone has a question, please write it in chat box for Dr. Huda.
Dr. Amany, I'm happy to share our experiences with design thinking, team-based learning, challenge-based learning, problem-based learning. We have a lot of knowledge to share. I'm happy to connect. But I know you also have a lot of experience as well, Ain Shams. So yes, please do connect. أنا يعني مفيش هنا جامعة القاهرة، بس يعني أهلا بيكم في جامعة عين شمس وجامعة الأزهر.
Thank you, Professor Hoda. And now, to follow all AU activities and follow us, join the links of NARO social platforms and chat box. And now let's welcome our honorable speaker, Dr. Nurhan El-Haridi, the coordinator of International African Relations of Faros, who will talk about Faros University's celebration, African Universities Day 2021. She is the Association of African Universities and International African Coordinator at Faros University in Alexandria, and lecturer at the Faculty of Engineering, Department of Architecture. She has received the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Architectural Engineering from Alexandria University, Faculty of Engineering, at 2018, and has many publications in the field of energy simulation, net zero buildings, sustainable architecture, and environmental studies. Past head of the International Committee of Rotaract and many community services. Welcome, Dr. Nurhan.
Welcome. How are you? I'm happy to be here in this day. Thank you for the introduction. Under the theme of the evaluation of digital transformation experience in African higher education institution and the African Celebration Day 2021, I want to welcome all participants and valued higher education stakeholders to our presentation of the workshop hosted by Faros University in Alexandria, entitled Online Interactive Teaching and Learning Activities in Higher Education. Faros University in Alexandria is presenting this workshop with the cooperation of the NARO office within the framework of the participation into the African University Day celebration in 2021. Since it's important for African higher education institutions to collaborate and share technological resources and expertise in online content preparation and delivery. The online the Faros University in Alexandria virtual workshop was held on Sunday, the 7th of November 2021, for 4 hours with participants from all over Africa continent and with different nationalities, from Zambia, Liberia, Nigeria, Cameroon, Uganda, Botswana, Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, Egypt, and also from Indonesia. The online interactive teaching and learning activity in higher education was presented by Dr. Noha El-Salamuni. She is an associate professor of pharmaceutics and pharmaceutical technology in Faculty of Pharmacy, Faros University in Alexandria. She is the international relations coordinator of Faculty of Pharmacy and a trainer of the Education Development Center at UA. This workshop aims at implementing different interactive teaching and learning modules during online learning to involve the students in the learning process rather than being passive observers. It also provides an insight of different active learning strategies implemented at Faros University in Alexandria. The workshop included a brief introduction about the difference between active and passive learning. Also, it included the obstacles of e-learning and how to be overcome, especially in the era of COVID-19. Also, it discussed how the COVID-19 pandemic affected education forever. The different interactive online learning strategies that can be implemented was the strategies that allow the student to share the screen, for example, peer teaching. Also, the workshop discussed the strategies that depend on individual students' electronic response, for example, polls and classroom response system as Kahoot. And I will take a brief, and I will present a brief presentation about the live workshop. But also, the workshop discussed the strategies that depend on students' verbal response strategies that can be implemented in staff presentation, for example, audiovisual aids and interactive PowerPoint. Finally, the workshop presented an insight of different active learning strategies implemented at Farish University in Alexandria, using the e-learning platform Blackboard Collaborate. And now I will share with you the online record of the BUA workshop. It's just for a little part of 2 minutes and another part of 3 minutes. And we could see what was about the workshop.
Hey, what's up? Miss Nala, I miss you. How are you? How's your family? What do you think about your voice? Are you in trouble? How do your friends and your neighbors and you can hear me? I'm scared. Really, send me a voice message. I miss you. Huh? Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Daddy.
Responses around the student to be in a competition with each other. To give a very quick response, which allows you also to know to get feedback, a very quick feedback if the students are following.
Okay, I have another. May I could share another one? Maybe the video is
the different strategies which we can implement during our online sessions or our online lecturing.
Kindly, your microphones.
Of information.
Is the video, voice of the video, Asma?
Information during our online learning period.
Is the voice clear now?
Other strategies depend on the student's verbal response. For example, giving the student a case study or a problem which needs a solution. You should give them some time to think about the solution to this case study, and then ask a certain student to unmute or ask them to raise hands and then unmute and participate to find the solution to the case study which I have provided. This is a way. Another strategy is what's known as 1 minute reflection. In this strategy, the instructor allows the students to unmute and respond to a question. For example, what was the most important thing you have learned during this lecture? What is unclear and you need more help about it? Summarize the lecture in only 1 sentence. All these are ways which help you to keep the student with you alerted. You ask any student at any time to unmute and answer any of your questions, and this makes the students attentive during the whole online lecture, during the whole session. Another interactive strategy that can be implemented in your presentation include using picture prompt. Picture prompt is including a figure in the presentation with no explanation, and you ask the students to identify it or to explain it. Always use your PowerPoint to be very rich in figures, because figures always gain the attention of the students and make them to brainstorm and to think about what this figure is about. Make your PowerPoint always interactive. There are several YouTube videos. If you search on YouTube and ask for interactive PowerPoint, you will have very easy steps, stepwise through the video, from which you can create interactive slides. For example, if I have my topic to be taught in 5 points to be discussed today, you can use the interactive PowerPoint, which is attractive to the students. For example, we say that we have a first topic or a first point we will talk about, a second point, a third point, a fourth, and a fifth. This is what's called as interactive PowerPoint. You have each topic which appears upon click with a certain animation, which attracts the attention of the students, rather than just appearing as a slide with the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 listed together without any animation or without any interaction in your PowerPoint. Then you can always make your PowerPoint an interactive one. And as we said, interactive PowerPoint can be easily prepared with the aid of the YouTube. Just write in the search bar of YouTube interactive PowerPoint. You'll find several videos which allow you to make interactive slides easily. Here is an example also, having always illustrations or video, audio-visual aids in your presentation. Always include illustrations as much as you can. Don't talk to students about facts with only words or written information without showing them figures and images of this information, which allows them to understand better and to retain the information. Also, whenever possible, include in your presentation videos which you can help them to get the information much easier. Always ask a question in order to enhance the students to brainstorm. Brainstorming is very important. You give them a time for 20 seconds, for example, and ask the questions to start to think about an answer to this question, and then you start explaining. When you ask a question, you don't always need to wait for the students to unmute and answer. No, you can just give them a think break. You give them time to brainstorm, to think about an answer for this question you have posted on your slide, and then you start explaining an answer. Try to leave always a small part of the topic you are teaching to start with the next lecture. This is called cliffhanger lecturing, and it generates an automatic bridge between the lectures. Don't fit the content exactly to your lecture and you start and end the whole topic in your lecture, but leave a very small part to start with the next lecture and create an automatic bridge between your lectures. Prepare incomplete lecture notes. Don't make your lecture notes always complete. No, keep some places where you have blank spaces or dots which have to be completed during your lecture, and provide your students some time, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, in order to fill in the gap spaces in their lecture handouts from which they are going to study later. Always recall, summarize, and connect between the information you are teaching.
Please
information you told the students last lecture and the information
Dr. Nurhan.
Recalling and summarizing.
Dr. Nurhan,
different lectures.
Kindly,
yes, I am
try to do
yes. I'm gonna stop. It was a short brief about our workshop, and I will put the link of all the 4 hours of the workshop here in the chat after my presentation, so everyone could learn or see what was about the rollover of the workshop. Finally, I want to thank all. Okay. And then I want to thank all the participants and the AU for getting this chance to make our presentation about our workshop, and wish you a nice day about the African Celebration Day. Thank you, and if anyone wants any question.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nurhan. What a huge effort in short time. It's really inspiring. Before we move to the next, our honorable speaker, if anyone have a question, please drop your question in the chat box. Any question, please? Nadia Casey, Kahoot application is interesting tool, I guess. Thanks for sharing and suggestion. It will be useful platform for teachers as well as students.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nurhan. And now, gentle reminder to follow all AEU activities and follow us. Join the links of NARO social platforms in chat box. And now let's welcome our honorable speaker, Professor Omar Karam, the Dean of Faculty of Informatics and Computer Science, British University in Egypt, who will talk about evaluation of digital transformation experience in African higher education institutions. Professor Omar is the Dean of the Faculty of Informatics and Computer Science at the British University in Egypt. Professor Karam also has extensive professional experience in ICT management. He was the executive director of the Egyptian Universities Network and director of Ain Shams University Research and Education Network. He also worked for National Telecommunications Institute in Cairo. In the private sector in Egypt, he was the technical director for Link ME and a project manager with UNITRA Communications. Welcome, Professor Omar.
I think it's you can share it now. You can see it now.
Yes, it's clear. We can see it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you for this wonderful introduction. I just need to put this out of the way. And I work now with the British University in Egypt. I've been with them for some time, and we've been through a lot in the past 12, 13 years. The university was started in 2005. We graduated our first cohort in 2009. And we cooperate with British universities. And of course, we are an Egyptian private university. Why I'm mentioning that is because there are Egyptian regulations, of course, we have to follow. And then there are, of course, United Kingdom or British regulations we have to follow. And that will, when I'm talking about digital transformation and software and applications that cater to the academic administration, we have two sets of rules and two masters to serve, actually. But what I like to emphasize is that digital transformation, to me and to many other people in universities, has really four dimensions. Its applications, or we make use of it in governance and administration, deans, heads of departments, decision makers and presidents and chairman of the boards of trustees. And then there's the teaching and learning dimension. A lot of very useful information about it today. And then there are two others, research and infrastructure. I'll be emphasizing the first two, but I'll be touching on research and infrastructure also, I hope. Now, I'd like to bring your attention to this nice diagram, which is somewhat of a gearbox. The lower left is digitization. And then the middle gear is digitalization. And then the top gear is digital transformation. And it's very important in evaluating our work to distinguish between digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. Now let's start with digitization, because that's been around for a long, long time. And it's turning everything analog, or in the real world, into data and zeros and one. So that includes paper records, texts, lectures, put them on video and store them somewhere, ID cards, etc. So basically, we digitize the information and organize them. We turn them into data and then into information. We digitize and organize. This is digitization. Let's take a step up towards digitalization. Digitalization concerns processes, actually. So we automate the processes, we streamline processes. We have some data, document management software, for example, that moves our documents from one place to the other. And so on, and we begin the trip down no paper and paperless offices and all that, including, for example, admissions applications and all that. Now, let's move up a little bit to digital transformation, because this really, we need to get knowledge and decision support from both lower end of the spectrum, digitalization and digitization. And digital transformation affects, based on the data and the knowledge we extract from the other two processes, affects our operation, affects our decision making, affects our budget. And it really gives us a lot of knowledge about our strengths, our weaknesses, and where we should, what we should fix and how to move ahead. So this distinction between digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation is key. And we have to ask ourselves, which stage are we at? How much digital transformation do we have? Is what we're talking about digitalization? Because that's really equal to automation, but using computers and electronic devices. So it is key to understand where we are on this simple three-stage spectrum. Now, let me give you an example, if you allow me, about an application for governance and administration. We always have academic action plans, and academic action plans tells us what we're going to do next year. So, does my software or do my applications allow me or assist me in designing my academic action plan? Very quickly, the academic action plan concerns where we are now, capabilities, capacities of faculties, evaluating the abilities of existing academics, and so on and so forth, and some steps to be done to cover disadvantages or points of weaknesses. So we have to identify, as in this gearbox in front of us, identify, refine, discuss, and then make decisions. Now, are our applications able to assist us in this? Do they give us enough knowledge to assist us in this? Well, the academic action plan development, it really feeds from academic data. And this is how digital transformation emphasizes, knowledge and the processes. So we have external examiner reports, we have student records, we have learning KPIs, we have the situation with at-risk students or special needs student, if you will, in addition to the at-risk. We have feedback from the students, feedback from the faculty members, we've got review panels. All this creates a pool, a repository of academic data. And this is the data which will lead us to make decisions and overcome any shortcomings, because that is the action plan, and that's how we use the digital transformation, one of the digital transformation applications, towards designing an action plan for the coming months. So a good action plan, these are the characteristics of a good action plan. I'm sure most of us have gone through this exercise. We study what the current situation is, the feedback from all the data we have, and then we make decisions. So data analytics is the heart of a good action plan. This is what we're looking for when I'm looking for feedback from the digital transformation processes or applications we have. We need to enhance the student experience, enhance student progression, identify at-risk students, increase graduation rates, reduce graduation periods. These are all targets that the action plan should help us through the digital and through the applications used in digital transformation. This is a framework for harnessing data analytics. This is quite a straightforward cycle for the preparation. But what I want to show you is what kind of data we can have, and that defines whether we're at the digital transformation stage or not. Not this specifically, but something similar. This, for example, is the engagement rate for students by year and semester. And it's colored by module level. And if you know the UK system, a module means course in the American system. So it measures the engagement rate for each. It can visualize the engagement rate, and it's by year, by semester, by module level or course level. That means year 1, year 2, year 3, or sophomore, senior, junior. And it tells you, you can see trends, you can spot trends immediately, either by year, by semester, or by the level of the student, the academic level of the student. So this is just a simple example of what I mean by, what digital transformation should give us. This is, for example, a simple relationship diagram that decides or provides us with a visualization of what affects the engagement of a student. And this is all extracted from the applications of digital transformation. As long as you have the data and you can measure the engagement, you decide on the criteria that measures the engagement. And then after you decide on the level of engagement, then you can measure how much of these parameters affect the engagement of a certain student, and then you can start addressing the issue. This is all from the data that's provided by the digitalization, and then processed at the digital transformation level. So we need to ask ourselves, where are we from this? And we need to really be honest with ourselves, at which level of these processes are we? This is an engagement rate versus the pass rate. The x-axis is the engagement rate, and the y-axis is the pass rate. And then there's the correlation. It's almost linear, relationship between the engagement and the pass rate. Now, this would be normal. Now, if you don't meet that specific curve in this correlation or linear relationship between the engagement rate and the pass rate, then you'll have to stop, take a look at this course and see why is the engagement rate not related to the pass rate. Students' feedback mining, right? We all do our evaluations for the students, and this really from what they write, we can deduce this chart, the sentiments and the percentage of negative votes or negative opinions versus positive opinions in each and every item. Mining and knowledge discovery is a key aspect of digital transformation. That's the road to education 4.0. At the British University in Egypt, for example, we had a problem with having a student record system that can combine the Egyptian regulations and the British regulations. And inside the regulations, deep are embedded the values and traditions of both systems, actually. And some of these differences are really deep. So we have a student record system, an HR system, finance, admissions, etc. And we started in 2008 with a software house to tailor our requirements to their, but it was difficult, and we had to forego a very commercial companies and go directly to a software house, an academic software house in another university. We were 3 faculties at the time in 2008, less than 1,000 students. The drive towards that was, this was driven by the fact that the British partner gave us a deadline for having a student record system. And we purchased the product in 2009, and we have our own software development team that works on it since 2009, 2010. And that team is leading the digitalization process and the digital transformation process. It is necessary to have really professionals in charge of that. Academics can supervise, can manage, but when you evaluate the team responsible, you really need to evaluate their professionalism and how much time they give. I've noticed that a lot of universities in North Africa, or Africa maybe generally, the academics take care of many of these tasks. And that's a double-edged sword. And it's usually, I mean, These are full-time jobs. They should be fully dedicated people, because the changes are fast, the requirements are fast. They have to understand and study knowledge discovery processes and data mining in order to allow us to digitally transform the institution. Our software allows for examination boards, program boards, impaired performances, appeals, misconduct committees, transcripts, Egyptian and UK, because they are different, and undergraduate, postgraduate, and all of that. And it does create a repository of data that we then are able to implement or to use in our digital transformation decision making or planning and all that. We have specific. And let's talk a little bit about teaching and learning and the digital transformation here. That's the second dimension. And I borrowed this from my colleague, who's the director of the Center for Emerging Learning Technologies at the BUE. And they design software to aid and to assist in teaching, based on remote experimentation. That was their main drive. Not virtual experiments and simulation, but running real experiments from afar. They do also do virtual stuff, but because most of the main learning, the strongest learning is through participation in activities. And you need to provide for that when you have remote learning and when we're in a pandemic. So that is really affecting and giving a different experience to the students who's running the
excuse me, Professor
Yes.
We have 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Am I running out of
very
time?
sorry, because we don't have much time.
Sorry, couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
We apologize, yes.
Yeah, say again, please.
We have 2 minutes because we don't have much time.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Professor Omar.
You can or cannot?
Okay. Kindly, we have 2 minutes to.
Yes, you have to what?
2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We are very sorry, Professor Omar.
That's fine. I'll go through that.
Yes, it's informative.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
So our friends, our colleagues in the Center for E-Learning Technologies, they designed these experiments, and they are interactive, and they allow us to follow the intended learning outcomes of, and this is the center itself, and you have a username, a guest, and password 123456. You can go on there and try their experiments. And this is all, they really have one-to-one correspondence experiments and electromagnetic experiments and all that to satisfy the intended learning outcomes. But then again, they give us data and analysis of the students' feedback and the students' behavior, and the module leader or the instructor can really use this, because these are the tools of digital transformation. The e-learning at BUE, pretty strong, pretty standard. It covers the 11 faculties we have. All the modules and all the courses have an e-learning presence. But the main strength of it is we use interactive e-learning resources that's coupled inside the e-learning from major publishers. And then you have also, to evaluate the e-learning system, you need to check the resources and what kind of resources are provided to your students. This is the e-learning hierarchy and system we have. E-learning system, interactive learning processes, module course files and module files, and so on and so forth. Now, IT, this is just very quickly for the infrastructure. You do need a chief information officer. These are the questions you need to evaluate your choice of CIO. The infrastructure, software, you need heads for both, and you need to evaluate both the abilities. Evaluating the structure of the IT abilities is really, really important. Thank you very much. I'll conclude with this, and thank you.
Thank you, Professor Omar, for your informative and fruitful speech and presentation. Do anyone have a question? Okay. Thank you, Professor Omar.
Thank you.
And now let's move to our honorable speaker, Mr. Mikhail, the founder and executive director of Al-Farha Foundation for Physical Disability, who will talk about supportive work environment for persons with disabilities. Welcome, Mr. Mikhail.
As a start, I need to speak about Farah Foundation. Farah in Arabic, it's mean joy. We, as a father and mother, alternative father and mother to people with disability. We started at 1993 in the Catholic Church. But after that, we find some orphan people from people with disability. They have a problem. They can't find homes or families. So we received them in a legal way at the Farah Foundation. We are founded, my wife and me, we are the founder from 2010. So we received people without homes or orphan. And our license also let us take refugees, people with disability also. We are in the north of Egypt at Alexandria. We always work about the rights of the people with disability, and we believe we should empowerment them. If I have money, if I have my salary, if I have economic empowerment, I can find good jobs, I can take my decision, I can work free in the society. I'm free, I'm not like a slave, follow other one. We are as a foundation because I know that time is very narrow. So we speak about Decent Jobs One. Decent Jobs One, it's in cooperation with Ministry of Communication and Information Technology and the International Labour Organization, ILO. So we worked in 11 governorates in Egypt. We trained 600 one person of disability. And we have our slogan, your skills are your key to work. When we make need assessment with companies, we have a good phrase. We need working gear in the system because we have a system. We can't have a time to train them. So companies need people with disability ready to work. And we are working with technology. So we train them about operating systems and office, and also about the soft skills and terminal English, how they can deal in English, very basic English. And we have very, very success story, good success story in Uber company in section English. We have 2 people working, and in Amazon we have 2 visual impaired also graduated from the projects, alumni from it. So it's very important to have your skills to find a job. What we should doing as companies and as universities about like this. First thing, we need to speak about the natural distribution curve. All people in natural distribution curve, they have moderate and some very super and the other not super. So people with disability like all of the people. Some of them clever and have duty, good duty and good work and hard work. So you can find them. So we need to change the single story to people with disability about if we think they are super, it's not right. Some of them super and the others not. So we need to make the first thing, we need to take the human rights approach. In human rights approach, we say they have rights. So we should have accessibility for them. Now in all the world, we speak about general design. General design, it's for buildings and for the offices. And some notes, small notes, like we not open the door or close, half open, it's problem. Because if visual impaired, he use his white cane and going through the half open, they hurt himself in the door. So it's very important thing. And we need to train the college of them about they are human, they have rights, they have right to work like you. Just we need some single things. So we should work about transportation, and we should use technology. Technology accelerate now coronavirus pandemic, accelerate how we can deal with people with disability in technology. We are now in virtual meeting in Zoom, so they have screen readers if they visual impaired. If they are motor impaired, they not should to go with transportation because it's difficult in most of the world, most places, most country. So we need to use technology as the others people said, as a prof said about this. It's very important thing for people with disability. It's a good opportunity for them to find a good job. Okay, we need just finally put a small film so about how we dealing with people with disability.
Okay.
Just a moment. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not the disability.
Good morning, Bob.
Morning there, big man. Morning, Alice!
There's no need to be awkward.
Poor Bob. Like so many of us, he just doesn't know how to interact with people with disabilities.
It's pretty easy, really. People with disabilities are people first.
We need the same things that every person needs, like respect.
Good morning, everyone.
Attention! Okay. Maybe we need to be more specific.
The easiest way to show respect is to focus on the person, not the disability. It's okay. You'll get the hang of it.
One easy way to focus on the person is to watch the person signing and not their interpreter.
Or their companion.
It's really cool that you'd like to help, but do us both a favor and please ask me first. What you think might be helping?
I got you.
Wait, ah! Oh no, might actually not.
If you'd like to offer me help, let me hold on to your elbow. Don't take mine.
Hey, would you like to take mine?
Sure.
Assistive devices help us to live our lives. They're really important and really personal.
Grabbing them only makes it weird for everyone.
What? Please only touch our devices and service animals if we've given you permission. And don't take it personally if I ask you not to. Remember that my service animal helps me all the time. Neither of us would like it if we were separated.
Remember, we make our own decisions. We sign documents, vote, volunteer, work, and pay taxes.
We get married.
So don't underestimate me just because I have a great smile.
Just because I'm blind. May I help you? Does not mean I'm deaf.
Just because I'm deaf doesn't mean I'm blind.
And just because I use a wheelchair doesn't mean that I can't sweep you off your feet.
So take a deep breath. Relax. We don't bite.
Unless we're really hungry.
Hello there, ladies. How are you?
Hello. And if you're not sure what to do, just ask.
Hi, would you still like to see a menu?
No thanks, but can you please read it to me?
Sure, definitely.
Just treat us the way you would want to be treated, and we'll all be okay.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Alice.
Morning.
Awkward no more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Michael, for your fruitful speech and inspiring video. We have now a question from Nadia Qaisi. I think it's a great idea to integrate the informal learning in our interests as educators, in addition to focus on learners with specific needs. How can you describe the Farah Foundation experience in terms of outcomes of the learners? Thank you in advance.
Sorry.
There are question from Nadia. How can you describe the Farah Foundation experience in terms of the outcomes of the learners? Thank you.
Farah Foundation, we are empowering people with disability to find a good work and women.
Farah Foundation, we are support people with disability, empowerment them to find a good job. We are not working in a learning only at the trial way to blind people only. That we are working, and with people with disability, we make a parallel system, not in a formal way, but as a training for people with disability, mentally disabled.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
And we have all of our connection on the share, and also we because the time is narrow, we make the national network for service for person with disability. I put this domain, this link to please register on it as a service provider as a university, because it's a governmental platform.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. There is a message from Mrs. Ralitza Diana. Thanks for this wonderful presentation. We have to learn to be more inclusive as we design for online learning. Thanks. This is a message from Mrs. Ralitza. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. You are welcome.
Thank you for Professor Amany. Thank you for Mr. Mahmoud, coordinator for this forum. Thank you for our honorable speakers and all of attendees. Okay, and now Mike with Dr. Muhammad for closing remarks.
Okay, thank you, my colleague Asma, and thank you, Mahmoud, for moderating the session for the North Africa Regional Office celebration with the African University Week 2021. And actually, it's my pleasure. I would like to express my appreciation to the speakers university chancellors, and the panelists for their valuable contribution to the North Africa Regional Office. Actually, I'll be introducing our director for the North Africa Regional Office, Professor Amany El-Sharif, for the closing remarks. Prof, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mohammed. Dear participants, dear excellencies, dear governing board members, dear vice chancellors, staff members of the universities, professors, guests. Actually, I would like to thank all of you for this very successful event. And today we highlight on the evaluation of digital transformation experiences in African higher education institution. And we noticed together how some institution is advanced beyond the needs of COVID-19 and how some universities reported the out of control problems like the bandwidth and other internet-related problems, which we suffering from during our forum right now. We also conference of one of the advanced universities like Ain Shams University and celebrate the university's celebrate the event by giving a workshop or holding a webinar or how to propose any projects for students. We will be more than happy to disseminate your idea all over Africa. So let's work together. We are mind leaders, as we agreed in the beginning of this event. So let's lead the future leaders, our students, to keep the planet safe for their coming generation. Also, I would like to announce that we have a link for experts in all discipline. We are preparing database for experts in all discipline. So if you would like to join us, feel free to fill the link, the questionnaire or the data in the link. I don't know, I'm not sure if it is will be included here in the chat, but if you join our social platform, sure you will find it on our social different platform, WhatsApp, Facebook, and so on. We will disseminate it on all different platforms shortly, because from time to time, North Africa Regional Office connected by other universities to recommend an expert in special field, and it's very important to have the database of experts, so it make it easy to connect and network all of you together. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoy our events. Your comments is more than appreciated, so please join the questionnaire and let us know how far we were good and how far we need to improve ourselves. And finally, I'd like to share my screen. Mahmoud, if you have any announcement you would like to share?
I'd like to confirm that all our distinguished participants should kindly make sure that they fill the questionnaire within 24 hours in order to get a certificate of attendance. We did copy the link of the questionnaire in the chat box right now, and I hope that all our distinguished participants would fill the questionnaire in order to get the certificate and in order to help us presenting better events.
Yes, please. Thank you. I'm so sorry for the disconnection habit. Finally, I would like to ask is IT team to share the slide of the team, because I would like to give special thanks for the team working behind this forum. I was in a sick leave while they did all the work and all the communication and all the designs and all the arrangements. And I would like to give special thanks for Mahmoud Salim, the coordinator for this team. So please, if you share it, please. I appreciate if you share the team slide, because right now I use another. Yes, thank you. This is my team. I'm so proud of all of you guys. And thank you all for your hard work in spite of all the challenges. You did a great job for today's event. And I hope next week we can all of us meet physically and have a wonderful another event for African Universities Day. Goodbye for all of you, and I can leave you with Dr. Muhammad. Thank you for your efforts and arrangements, and the floor is yours. You can start the ending pages. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Professor.